Alright, so in class we were working on multiplying whole numbers by a fraction that's less than 1. And in class we talked about why we always get less than what we started with when we multiply a whole number by a fraction less than 1. And we talked about because, 12 times 1 equals 12. So if we're multiplying something that's less than 1, it totally makes sense that we're going to get a number less than what we started with. And also, we talked about how, it's 12 times 3/4 here. So we are only finding part of our whole. In this case, our whole is 12. So we're only finding part of it, not all of it or more than that. So makes sense again as to why we'll get an answer that's less than 12. We went over class and we went over two strategies on how to solve problems like this. And we talked about the why those strategies worked. The purpose of this video is not really to go into the why there, and the purpose of this video is just to review those strategies to help you out, maybe with your homework or reviewing for a test or anything like that. So 12 times 3/4. So let me just rewrite it over here. 12 times 3/4. In strategy 1, the first step is to find the unit fraction of our whole. So if I'm dealing with fourths, the unit fraction would be 1/4. So I want to find 12 times 1/4 or 1/4 of 12. And 12 times 1/4 or 1/4 of 12, we talked about how that's the same thing as just doing 12 divided by 4. So 1/4 of 12 would be 3. And then we take that answer and we're going to multiply that answer by the numerator of our fraction because 3/4 is 3 times greater than 1/4. So we'll do 3 times 3 and we'll get 9. So 12 times 3/4 is 9. Okay? Strategy 2, so if I'm going to use strategy 2, 12 times 3/4, the other way to think about this problem is we can take our whole number, sorry about that, we could take our whole number and multiply it by the numerator of our fraction. So I can do 12 times 3 and get 36. And then I can take that number, 36, and divide it by my denominator, 36 divided by 4, and get 9. So again, 12 times 3/4 equals 9. So both strategies, I got the same answer. And we talked a little bit about why that works, and just, I know I said I wouldn't do it, but I can't help myself. 12 times 3/4, we know that fraction bar means division. So really, I'm just doing 12 times 3 divided, I can replace that fraction bar with a division symbol because it just means division, divided by 4. So that's what I did. If I do order of operations, I would do 12 times 3 first, which is 36, and then divided by 4, which equals 9. So that's exactly the steps that I did over here, okay? Just written as a fraction instead. All right, so then we went on to another problem called an 11 times 2/5. So let me use 11 times 2/5, tackling both of those strategies. So 11 times 2/5. Again, strategy 1 says to find the unit fraction of the whole. So I'm dealing with fifths, so my unit fraction would be 1/5. So I could do 11 times 1/5 here, okay? Or find 1/5 of 11. And that would be 2 and 1/5, okay? Because that's really just saying 11 divided by 5, right? So 5 can go into 11 2 times, and I have 1/5 left over. So 2 and 1/5. And then I need to multiply that by 2. Because my answer needs to be 2 times larger because I have 2/5 here. So I need to multiply the unit fraction of my whole by the numerator of my fraction. So 2 and 1/5 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And then 2 times 1/5, can't forget to multiply that 1/5 by 2. 2 times 1/5 would be 2/5. So 11 times 2/5 is 4 and 2/5. Let me do strategy 2 over here, and I'll use red, okay? So strategy 2, 11 times 2/5. Sometimes when our unit fraction is not going to get us a whole number like it did over here, it got us a mixed number. Sometimes strategy 2, a lot of people like to use strategy 2 instead. So we're just going to multiply my whole number by my numerator. So 11 times 2, and that equals 22. And then I'm going to take that answer and divide it out by my denominator. So I'll do 22 divided by 5. And 22 divided by 5, 5 can go into 22 4 times, and I would have 2 left over, 4 and 2/5. And again, there's nothing wrong with if you need to use a partial quotients and you can't do that mentally, that is totally fine. I can show it like that. 22 divided by 5. Well, 5 can go to 22 4 times. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract that out. 22 minus 20 is 2. So we're going to report a remainder as a fraction. So I got 4 and 2/5. Okay, so that's just the way to show it more out if you couldn't do 22 divided by 5 in your head. Okay, let's just do a couple more examples. Let's do 4/5 times 15 using both of those strategies. Okay, so 4/5 times 15. Let's do strategy 1 over here. I'll rewrite the problem. 4/5 times 15. So strategy 1 says to find the unit fraction of the whole. So the unit fraction here would be 1/5. So I'm going to do 1/5 times 15, or find 1/5 of 15. And that would be 3, because 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then I just take that answer and multiply the numerator of my fraction. So 3 times 4, and I get 12. Okay? Let me use strategy 2, and I'll put that in blue over here. 4/5 times 15. Strategy 2 says to take my whole, multiply by the numerator of my fraction. So 15 times 4, and I get 60. And then I can divide 60 by my denominator. So 60 divided by 5, and I get 12. So both strategies, again, got me the same answer. Okay, so that's 2 strategies on what you can do to help you find or help you multiply whole numbers by a fraction that is less than 1. I hope that helped, and I would encourage you to pick, your best strategy moving forward, or if you can be flexible and know which time strategy 1 would be more efficient and which time strategy 2 would be more efficient, that would be even better. And then you got 2 great strategies in your toolkit. But if you just pick one and you always do that one strategy, it'll always get you the right answer. So that's okay too. All right, so again, I hope that helped.